Unless something truly evident goes wrong behind the scenes, Kelly Ripa appears unflappable on the Live with Kelly and Mark set. She typically embraces her anxiousness and maintains a neutral expression. Or she diverts the unpleasant energy by joking and laughing. She isn't scared to discuss her health like other individuals are. Real-time Kelly Ripa's talk show experiences were not always positive in the ABC show. The majority of viewers saw a professional with her fingers on every button. Over the years, though, she acknowledged that behind her facade, things weren't always going well. For example, she talked about being depressed and experiencing a lot of anxiety at work in 2022. But when a complete stranger complimented her, it all came out of her. Kelly Ripa occasionally lets her nervous moments show. She once lost it when a fan criticized her and Ryan Seacrest's personal cleanliness routine for the ABC show during the coronavirus years. Everyone was experiencing anxiety at the moment, and she discussed it on social media. She is more at ease now that those times are fortunately over, hopefully permanently. The host of Live with Kelly and Mark talks about anxiety. Mark Consuelos's wife hosted her regular Let's Talk Off-Camera podcast on Wednesday. While they awaited the arrival of novelist and musician David Duchovny, she engaged in conversation with her producers, Albert Bianchini and Jan Chile. His purpose for being there was to discuss his personal and professional failures. Kelly Ripa talked about how some are ashamed to disclose their use of weight loss medications to others before David Duchovny showed up. The host of Live with Kelly and Mark believes that worrying about it is pointless. The topic of anxiety then came up, as there have been allegations that medications like Ozempic can cause anxiety and depression. Therefore, being thinner does not always translate into happiness. After a few advertisements for mental health resources, the host of the ABC talk show asked, "What do you think about Kelly Ripa talking openly about her anxiety?" At 4:2. Do you think that admitting that kind of mental health issue is a good thing? How do you feel about medications used to lose weight? Were you aware that Ozempic could lead to anxiety and depression? For decades, Kelly Ripa has been a beacon of morning television. Bright, witty, effortlessly charming. She makes millions of viewers feel as though she's inviting them into her living room for a cup of coffee and a laugh. Yet behind her easy smile and lightning-fast banter lies a truth she recently opened up about on Live with Kelly and Mark. She struggles with anxiety. But instead of hiding it, Kelly is learning to embrace it. And in doing so, she's reshaping how her fans see both her and themselves. The on-air confession. It began on a Tuesday morning, in the middle of a casual chat with her husband and co-host, Mark Consuelos. The topic was everyday worries, and Kelly leaned forward with that mix of humor and honesty that only she can deliver. "You know," she said, "I wake up every morning, and my first thought is, what do I have to panic about today?" The audience laughed, but Kelly raised her eyebrows seriously. "No, really, I have anxiety. It's been a part of me forever. And I used to think it was this monster I had to fight. But lately, I've been thinking, maybe it's not the enemy. Maybe it's a weird, annoying friend who just won't leave me alone." Her candor left the audience stunned. Even Mark looked caught off guard, but he smiled, squeezing her hand. "She makes friends with everybody," he teased. "Even anxiety." Kelly grinned. "Well, somebody has to." A lifetime of nervous energy. Later in the episode, she elaborated, giving fans a glimpse into the private battles that don't always make it onto the screen. "People assume because I'm on TV, I'm confident all the time. That couldn't be further from the truth," she said. "I've had anxiety since I was a kid. I was the little girl biting her nails in class, worrying about things no one else even noticed. And when I started on Live, it didn't go away. It just put a spotlight on it." She recalled early mornings when she'd sit backstage, clutching her cue cards with trembling hands, praying she wouldn't forget her lines. It wasn't stage fright exactly. It was life fright. Just this buzzing, constant fear that I wasn't enough, that I'd mess up. But with time, Kelly said, she began to understand that the same nervous energy fueling her anxiety also fueled her sharp wit and lightning reflexes on air. My brain is like a squirrel on espresso, she joked, but sometimes that squirrel saves the day. Turning anxiety into power. Kelly's revelation resonated with viewers because she didn't frame her anxiety as something that made her weak. Instead, she described it as a force she's learned to channel. Anxiety is like a smoke alarm in your head. It's loud, it's obnoxious, and sometimes it goes off for no reason. But sometimes it saves your life, she explained. So I stopped hating it. I started listening. It's not always right, but it's always trying to protect me. Fans flooded social media with messages of gratitude, sharing their own experiences and thanking Kelly for normalizing a struggle many keep hidden. One viewer tweeted, "Kelly Ripa admitting she embraces her anxiety is the most relatable thing I've ever heard. I feel seen." Another wrote, "She just turned my biggest flaw into something that might be a strength. Bless her." Mark's perspective. Mark, who has always been more stoic, admitted on air that it took him years to understand his wife's anxiety. "I used to say, just relax, everything's fine. And then I realized that's the worst thing you can say," he laughed. "Now, I know sometimes the best thing I can do is sit with her in it, even if I don't fully get it." Kelly jumped in, nodding. "Exactly. You can't fix it, but you can sit with me while I write it out. That's love." The couple's candid exchange not only brought laughs, but also gave a raw glimpse of how anxiety impacts relationships and how understanding can strengthen them. Embracing it on and off screen. Kelly didn't stop at talking about anxiety once. She continued weaving it into her daily conversations, almost as if to prove that owning it took away some of its power. When a guest nervously fumbled their story, Kelly leaned over and said, "Don't worry, my anxiety and I are here to hold your hand." When Mark joked about her constant fidgeting with her bracelets, she shrugged and replied, "That's just me making music with my anxiety band." Off-screen, Kelly has also found ways to integrate her anxiety into her lifestyle rather than fighting it. Meditation, exercise, and journaling help, but so does humor. "If I can laugh at my anxiety before it laughs at me, I win," she quipped. Fans feel empowered. The impact has been enormous. Letters poured into the show's studio. Viewers shared stories of living with anxiety. Teachers, nurses, parents, even teenagers who said Kelly gave them the courage to stop hiding. One letter, read aloud on the show, said, "Kelly, I thought my anxiety made me broken. Seeing you say it's part of you, and even part of what makes you great, changed my life. Thank you." Kelly grew emotional, her eyes glistening as she responded, "See, that's why I share. Because if I can make one person feel less alone, then maybe all those sleepless nights were worth it." Looking forward, Kelly has hinted that she might eventually write a book exploring her relationship with anxiety. Not a self-help book, she clarified with a grin. More like a self-deprecating book. "I'll call it Anxiety and I, a love story." Mark chuckled. "That's a bestseller right there." But whether or not she puts pen to paper, Kelly has already started rewriting the narrative of what it means to live and thrive with anxiety. Why it matters. Morning television thrives on perfection, bright smiles, flawless timing, everything wrapped up neatly before the commercial break. Kelly Ripa has shattered that illusion by showing that imperfection is not only human, but also valuable. Her willingness to embrace her anxiety, rather than conceal it, has given fans permission to do the same. It's no longer a hidden struggle, but a shared experience, one that unites host and viewer in a bond deeper than any celebrity gossip or cooking segment ever could. The takeaway. As the show wrapped that morning, Kelly left viewers with one final thought. My anxiety doesn't define me, but it shapes me. It keeps me on my toes, it humbles me, and, let's be honest, it gives me great material. So instead of fighting it, I've decided to embrace it. Because if I can't be friends with myself, then who can I be friends with? The audience erupted in applause, not for the polished host they'd always admired, but for the vulnerable, honest woman who finally let them see the truth behind the sparkle. And in that moment, Kelly Ripa transformed her anxiety from a private burden into a public strength, proving that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is admit you're scared and smile anyway.